This is Mariana's Press, journalism by journalists, with you at the center as we cover the news and sports stories here at home and across the region. Fact-driven, multimedia, truthful coverage. What is your vision? Where are the limitations? Where are the boundaries? Online at marianaspress.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and WhatsApp as it happens.
I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I'm out. I don't want to tolerate this thing anymore. This is just too much.
We ask the hard questions.
What about those who say, our economy
It's an
is
instant
down?
gratification to us.
We practice responsible journalism, taking local coverage to new heights, powered by you. This is Mariana's Press, where every voice finds its story. Hafa if you're just joining us, this is Tomas Manglona. We are reporting live from Tinian, and I'm joined with Mark Rabago with Mariana's Press. We are at the day one of the revised draft environmental impact statement for the CNMI joint military training. This is day one of the public meeting. There will be another public meeting tomorrow, and as you can see, we are here at the Tinian Junior Senior High School. Just follow me down here. Mark Rabago behind the camera. Thank you, Mark. It is a poster style session where experts from the military will be sharing the plans with the revised draft EIS for the CNMI joint military training. So we're giving you a live look on Tinian. We just got in this morning, and we are going to have a quick update with one of the officials here who will explain exactly what is happening. And so Mr. Hashimoto, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, nice to see you. We've met you in a different capacity, so if you don't mind, just introduce yourself and your title and your relation to what's happening tonight.
Okay, my name is Mark Hashimoto, and I'm the Executive Director of U.S. Marine Corps Forces Pacific. That is the regional headquarters for all Marines in the Indo-Pacific region. And tonight, really, my role is to make sure that we keep moving this ball down the field. We've been working on this together with the community in a very collaborative way for the last 5 years, and my role here is to make sure that we stay true to the policies that we've been working on for the last 5 years. No surprises, work collaboratively with the community on this.
And so, of course, this revised draft EIS has the word revised in there because this was first introduced almost a decade ago, if not a decade ago.
Yes.
It received a record number of public comments, 30,000 public comments. What has changed this time around?
A tremendous amount has changed. First and foremost, I think the number one concern in most of those comments had to do with what we were calling the high hazard impact area. That was the use of training involving artillery, mortars, rockets, things that explode. So we're no longer proposing doing that. The second thing is the use of the island of Pagan is no longer part of our proposed action. Also, there was a proposal to conduct amphibious training, which would have required the destruction of some coral resources. That's no longer part of our proposed action.
All right, and tonight is the first of 5 public meetings happening, 2 on Tinian, 2 on Saipan, 1 on Rhoda. Tell us about why you're holding this and what you hope to get out of it.
We want the public's input because what we published on June 6th is a draft revised EIS. It's a draft because we need the public's input to make that document more complete and more accurate. So the public has 75 days and they can provide input any way they want. Phone, fax, email, in public, and then we will take that input and incorporate it into the draft in order to produce our final EIS.
All right, and you can see here you can provide written comments. What are other ways the public can engage starting today?
They can write, they can provide written comments, email. There's a voice function on the website that they can provide input that way. But the most important thing is to provide input. And I also want to say, regarding that input, the most useful input to us is focused on our proposed action, what we are trying to do. We understand that people might have other kinds of concerns, maybe things that are going on in the world right now, maybe some things having to do with other aspects of the federal government. But for us to be able to use the comments, it has to be focused on what we are proposing to do in terms of our advanced training capability on the island of Tinian specifically.
And I know there's several projects unfolding in the region. There's even some proposals to use, for example, the airport on Rhoda, but that's not a part of this. So can you define the scope here? When we talk about CJMT, what is the scope?
Specifically, the additional kinds of training that we want to do in the military lease area on Tinian, and the impacts that that might have on the land, the sea, and the air surrounding the military lease area. So what it doesn't include is the divert facility, the port facility, the facilities you talked about on Rhoda. However, we do know that as an island and as an archipelago, those things are connected. And so I leave it to our experts here to determine how the military lease area, which sits inside of the larger Marianas Islands Range Complex, the MERC, also works together. So I think there might be some level of complexity, but we are focused on those 24 square miles in the northern two-thirds of Tinian.
And what do you have to say? You know, we were at an environmental conference the other week. There was some peaceful protests. There are those who say who oppose any military development. So what's your response to those residents in the community who are voicing their voice and saying that they're concerned about the development?
We respect their opinions. We also know that the world is a very dangerous place. And really what this is about is keeping the peace. And so, we're really grateful for the community for working with us to develop a world-class training area that works for everybody. And we know that the people of the Mariana Islands have witnessed war firsthand. And so we're so grateful to them for working with us and continuing to invest in keeping the peace.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say? I know it hasn't officially started and we'll be learning more throughout the night, but any last message?
Our team is awesome. We have all of the experts here that have come to Tinian to be able to engage with the public. So I hope that the public shows up, comes and talks to those people either tonight or tomorrow night, or maybe one of the other venues the rest of this week, and gets all of their questions answered, and then they can formulate even better input to the draft EIS so we can present a final EIS, again, that represents the most balanced, complete, and accurate statement of the impacts of our advanced training capability that we want to establish on the island of Tinian.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time. I'm sure we'll be checking in with you later.
Right.
Yeah,
Welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, and there you heard it, a bit of what to expect tonight. And we are going to leave you with some live images. We're going to expect to hear from each of the experts at each of the different posters. And also around 6 o'clock, we know that there's going to be a little bit of welcoming remarks of some sort from the DoD, and so we'll be live all night. But for now, we'll leave you with these live images. Again, I'm Tomas Manglona with Mark Rabago behind the camera, reporting live from Tinian. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned as we continue our live coverage all through the night. This is Mariana's Press, journalism by journalists, with you at the center as we cover the news and sports stories here at home and across the region. Fact-driven, multimedia, truthful coverage. What is your vision? Where are the limitations? Where are the boundaries? Online at marianaspress.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and WhatsApp as it happens.
I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I'm out. I don't want to tolerate this thing anymore. This is just too much.
We ask the hard questions.
What about
Some
those
say
who say, our economy
it's an
is down?
instant gratification to us.
We practice responsible journalism, taking local coverage to new heights, powered by you. This is Mariana's Press, where every voice finds its story.
Us your board. This board right now, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the proposed action. This is what we plan on doing for CJMT EIS. As you can see, what's listed here is we have 2 live fire ranges, a multi-purpose maneuver range, and an explosive training range. There's going to be 13 landing zones within the MLA, the military lease area, and that will include aviation training. We have a drop zone, and then an airfield resurfacing, which we use AM2 matting. An aircraft shelter. The aircraft shelter will be located on the divert site, on the ramp, the parking ramp for the divert. Increased biosecurity facilities at the port. Also ammunition holding areas in support of the ranges. So it's basically a concrete pad to position ammunition to distribute to the service members while they're doing live fire. And then some radar towers to look over the waterway to ensure that we maintain public safety during live fire operations. And then some training support facilities at the Voice of America, the IBB location. And we also are going to repurpose some of those towers for communications purposes. And that's generally the proposed action on what we plan to do with the CJMT action, this EIS.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We are going to be making our way around. As we were first reported, this is a poster-style session, and so Mark Rabago and I are here on Tinian to learn all about this revised draft EIS for the CJMT. This live stream will also be left up on YouTube and Facebook, so you can go back. I know we are having a bit of a connection issue, but once this live stream ends, we will be able to view it in full on YouTube and Facebook. And so as you can see, we definitely don't want to get in the way of any residents getting to learn about this firsthand. So we'll wait to go to the other posters until it's clear again. But these are live images from Tinian at the junior senior high school as they learn more and present the revised draft EIS. And so we'll go ahead and see which posters are available. All right, let's see if we can talk to this individual. Mark Rabago reporting.
Talk about your board. Can you please explain?
Sure. My board is about public access and how it will be accommodated to allow people to enter the MLA even when training is occurring. The proposed action is to divide the MLA, as you can see, into multiple training areas, and they can schedule one or more, but the training, so for example, it's easier for that. Say this is the training area that's scheduled, people would be allowed to be in all the other training areas, not the one, obviously, that the training is occurring in. Or it's possible if there is training that can accommodate people, there would be no, everybody would be able to go everywhere. It really depends on the type of training, but that's part of our arrangement our scheduling arrangement to allow people to access the MLA during training. And then, let me see. We also have, this is the live fire range. I don't know if you were down at the proposed action, but live fire range. To fire live ammunition, you have to have danger zones where the projectiles could potentially go. It's like 1 in a million. And so,
just to be safe.
Yeah, to be safe. That's correct. So we've identified three different surface danger zones. One for, depending on the ammunition being used, 5.56, 7.62, and 50 caliber. Obviously, that one's the biggest one. It goes out about a little more than 3 miles. But the one that's going to be used the most will be the 5.56, and that will be used, I think, 70% of the time when the range is operating. We don't necessarily have a schedule for the operation of the range because it really depends on world events. But it would not be operating 24/7, 365 days a year. It would be used, but during that time, it's of use. 70% would be this smaller area. One thing that we're looking for that we have not gotten definitive information is finding out how the boaters and fishers come through this area. So we understand the water is rough on this side, and they would prefer to go over this way. We'd like to have better information on the impacts, because obviously if you're coming over here and let's say, for example, that they're firing 762, you'd have to go around a lot farther than you would if nothing was happening at the range. So whatever we can get information that people review this map on our website and provide comments as to where they fish and how they get around the islands, that would be wonderful for us to be able to refine our analysis.
Will there be Coast Guard to guard that shoreline? So
no.
to prevent...
No, there will not be Coast Guard. There will be surface radars, too, one here and one here, that will be able to look out in the ocean and see if anybody is out there. Obviously, if somebody's out there, they're not going to fire. They would stop. There would be also spotters on shore to look. And there also would be a light on the surface radar tower so that a ship coming this way and saw a light and a flag, they would know that there's a potential for firing in that area. And second, well, there also will be range control will reach out to the community and notify people as to when the range is live, when it's active, being used, so that people can have advance notice of where they would have to avoid. And also for any one of these training areas, whenever one of these training areas is being used, range control will be responsible for reaching out to the community, letting them know where their training is operating, if there's any kind of restrictions to that training area, and so that people wouldn't waste their time going to somewhere that they can't get into.
So social media, news, print, everything, right? It's going to come out. The communication that there's going to be live action.
Yes, there would be communication with the community. We also would be interested in any comments that would be provided on the means to reach out to the community. Well, I mean, we know obviously maybe Facebook or radio, but or communications with the mayor's office, but anything else that you think or a commenter would think would be helpful would be very desirable.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Good. Can you talk about your board, sir?
Yes, I can. This board is dealing with water resources and utilities. And the utilities include electrical, potable water, wastewater, and solid waste.
Okay. Can you talk about each of the diagrams here and bullet points?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So for the electrical system, we would be extending the power lines on 8th Avenue from the IBB site north up to the North Field area. The electrical usage from IBB was greater than our proposed project, so there's sufficient power within the existing CUC power plant to provide for this.
How about for the water resources? How do you plan to provide the water resources for the training activities?
So we have two different well sites proposed to build 4 water wells, and it would either be here east of Broadway or over here near 86th and 8th.
And could you talk about how you ensure the quality of the water that's coming in?
So for all water wells, they're required, when they're being drilled, that you have to get a permit from the CNMI Bureau of Environmental and Coastal Quality, BECQ. And that permit does a lot of testing and pump testing and water quality testing during construction and design. And then you have to get an updated permit every year. So that means that the owner of the water wells have to go and prove that they're not impacting the groundwater table. Each of the wells that are being proposed as part of this project would have to get permits from BECQ, and that water quality data would be looked at every year. So during drought periods, you'd be able to take less water out than other times. We're proposing also wells that are very small, about 50% the capacity of what would normally be built, in order to have even a more reduced impact on the groundwater table.
Can you talk about solid waste? I think that's part also of the purview of this board, right?
Yes, it is. So for solid waste, that's obviously a very, very important subject for Tinian. And so the report goes into lots of options. Randy, actually, if you've interviewed him earlier, has a lot to say about solid waste. He's not listening to me, but he is over there. But there are plans to construct a new landfill, and until that's done, the proposal is to remove the solid waste off island.
Do you know where particular location it has to be shipped to?
For that, I can get you Randy. Randy, he had the same questions on solid waste that the other gentleman.
Where do you ship the solid waste until a new landfill is built?
To a compliant facility anywhere.
That's anywhere.
Because this is not a compliant facility. So MARPI is in Saipan. So waste from Tinian from the DoD can go to MARPI.
What's the timeline for the new landfill on Tinian?
That's a tricky question because from the time that Punta Diablo, the existing non-compliant landfill, comes into compliance, it will be in compliance and designed for 10 years. So in those 10 years, the new landfill should be built. But they first have to bring the current facility into compliance. And then there's a 10-year lifespan to that permit. That's the plan. That's the CNMI plan. That's not the, we're a customer. DoD ultimately is a customer of those utilities that provide the service.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chaplin.
You're welcome.
Oh, any addition? We're good. Anything else you want to talk about on your board?
On water resources, let me walk to the other side. Sorry about that. So we're at least 1,400 feet from wetlands. There's no. So anyways, our new facilities are going to be far away from existing wetlands. We have already done analysis of water availability and quality, and then our proposed measures include here providing water available to ranchers from the new water wells. We're proposing 4 new groundwater monitoring wells installed at the 2 live fire ranges, and then a one-time hydrogeological study funded to establish baseline data, so get data that could then be used in the future. So that's also part of this.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that was Mark Rabago reporting for Marianas Press. We're going to take a bit of a break and try and speak with some residents who've gone through all the posters, so thanks for tuning in. Again, we'll be right back right after the break. This is Marianas Press, journalism by journalists, with you at the center as we cover the news and sports stories here at home and across the region. Fact-driven, multimedia, truthful coverage. What is your vision? Where are the limitations? Where are the boundaries? Online at marianaspress.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and WhatsApp as it happens.
I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I'm out. I don't want to tolerate this thing anymore. This is too much.
We ask the hard questions.
What about
Some
those
say
who say, our economy
it's an
is down?
instant gratification to us.
We practice responsible journalism, taking local coverage to new heights, powered by you. This is Marianas Press, where every voice finds its story.
Can you state your name and your position at the mayor's office?
Sure, my name's Alan Perez, and I'm the mayor's chief of staff.
Okay, sir. Can you talk about what you gleaned from today's event?
Okay, so as you know, we're here today because Department of Defense is basically doing the public hearing for the revised EIS, right? So a lot of people don't know that the revised EIS is based upon the training plans that the Marines have for Tinian. Started about 10 years ago, and then there have been major adjustments to the whole plan. Actually, it's been downsized considerably. So now what they're doing is they finished up with the EIS. They got a new revised plan, which now is going into the comment period. So what they're doing is they're coming out to the community and letting the community ask questions and express their concerns about revised EIS. But I do want to say is that unlike the last EIS, when they finished the whole thing and then they sent it out to the public for them to read and comment, what DOD did this time was actually better. They took it out in phases. So this is actually the third meeting we've had. So they did chapter 1, then they did chapter 2 and 3, I believe, and now they finally did the heart of it, which is the effects that the training might have on the environment or what have you. So, we appreciate what DOD has done in terms of kind of tweaking their process a little bit to make it so it's a lot easier for the people of Tinian to be able to hear the plans and digest it and then ask concerns. As you see here, what they did was they broke it up, right? So you have all these little stations, and they go from anything about access to the North Field, to the noise, to, maybe I'm sure they have something here about the range complex. So it gives opportunity for people to go one by one and then ask the necessary questions. And then at that time, we go into the comment period. I think the comment period ends sometime in August, and this is the opportunity for people to express their personal comments about how they feel the new plan is being pushed out.
Alan, there's a lot of talk in the community about the CNMI benefiting, from this plan. Does the CNMI benefit from this plan?
So I guess a lot of it has to do with how everybody looks at it. So in terms of tax base, absolutely. Tinian alone, before DOD came to Tinian and the buildup, on Tinian alone, we collected about $1.8 million in taxes. We've already are in the neighborhood of about $11 million in terms of taxes collected for the government coffers. Okay. Now, obviously in Tinian, a lot of our businesses here, the restaurants and everything, have been doing much better. So yes, we have benefited here. And we're also, a lot of our residents have been able to get jobs with the contractors and everything like that. Now, as DOD expands their plans and they start doing stuff in Rhoda and Saipan, well, we're hopeful that a lot of the benefits that Tinian's getting will also extend out to the other islands.
Is there anything in this plan that concerns you as it stands now?
No, that's a good question. Well, so first things first, the number of ranges were downsized considerably, so that's great. Before the plan had high impact training, they don't have that anymore. So I think in general we're pretty much fairly comfortable with the plan as they roll it out now. I think a lot of the situations that we might be concerned with at the mayor's office is some of the social impacts, our relationship working with DOD to maybe supplement some of our departments in order to servicing some of the requirements. The best example, we've been talking about this with DOD, is grass fires up north, right? So obviously with them up north, there's a presence up north. Now the whole SOP for addressing grass fires have to be addressed. And we want to work together with them to help supplement, whether it's through personnel or it was through financial resources, Department of Fire, so they could be able to address those concerns.
What about public safety? Would they be also augmenting that?
Yeah, public safety is also one of them. So public safety, of course, roads and DFEMS and the hospital. Those are our major agencies that we want to address initially.
Last one.
Yeah.
Solid waste management. The military is planning to lease back some part, 30 acres of military lease land back to the municipality.
That's correct. And so the general behind us, he was actually the one who helped initiate that. We're still a long ways away, right? We first still need to finalize the agreement in terms of getting the land back, which might be the easier of the situations. Then we have to figure out how to fund it, right? So now we got to build a landfill, which could cost, I don't know, $10, $20 million, which right now we have no funding for. So there's still a long ways to go for that to happen. So in the meantime, what Tinian is trying to do is get our current landfill permitted.
There are concerns that 80 years after World War II, there's still unexploded ordnance that hasn't been cleaned up. And now we're having this new training going on. How concerned are you that they're not cleaning up after this?
Okay, so if you take a look at their plans, and I think they're going to show it over there on the range complex, they actually have a very comprehensive SOP in terms of how they're going to handle the cleanup of the ranges. So, you can go over there, you could talk to somebody like Mario over there, and they're going to explain the whole process. So I don't know, and they're not dropping bombs. So we don't have to worry about that at this one, but it's true. We still have a lot of unexploded ordnances on the North Field, and if they're going to use that area, then obviously they're going to have to send out the right people to clean that up. But as for the new exercises, none of them will involve bombs.
So, but there's still no plan about cleaning up the unexploded ordnance up in North Field?
Well, of course, that will depend on DoD for the areas that they want to use. They would be the one who would be required to do that.
Okay, thank you, Dallin.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back more with more interviews from Tinian. Thank you so much. This is Mariana's Press, journalism by journalists, with you at the center as we cover the news and sports stories here at home and across the region. Fact-driven, multimedia, truthful coverage. What is your vision? Where are the limitations? Where are the boundaries? Online at marianaspress.com, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and WhatsApp as it happens.
I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I'm out. I don't want to tolerate this thing anymore. This is too much.
We ask the hard questions.
What about
Some
those
say
who say, our economy
it's an
is down?
instant gratification to us.
We practice responsible journalism, taking local coverage to new heights, powered by you. This is Mariana's Press, where every voice finds its story.
Mayor, good evening. Or good afternoon. Are you happy with this kind of setup for comments for DIs?
Sure. This is a long in the making dialogue with DOD and folks from their environmental folks from DC and some of the local biologists that have been around since 2015. And it was the same concept, but it's a new proposal. When you change the outlook of what was supposed to happen out here from 2015, when they have 14 shooting range, amphibious assault exercise, and you have a high impact area, and Paga was in there, and they're gone. I would say 60 to 70% is taken out from the original draft proposal, and here we are, 10 years in the making. And it was a long, tedious, and we went back and forth. We've been going to different bases so they can show us really what's the impact and how's the outlook when these things are done. And I think the CNMI got off with a good opportunity, and more so to our advantage than what was the original proposal.
How would this benefit Tinian economically?
Ooh. You know Tinian now? Okay, so remember that this is just CGMT. When the military start looking at the outlook of what's going on in the region and what is the mission, and they know that they own a property in the CNMI. They're not going to give that space and leave it there for a particular project. This is CGMT we're talking about. We have divert that is on ground, pushing and pushing into an opportunity with the economy. That's estimated close to $400 million project. And then you have Red Horse, who's doing the Northfield. That's $409 million project. And then here we are with CGNP, another roughly maybe the same. And then we're not talking about the dock and breakwater. The numbers are so crazy. They're going up. We're looking at about $2 billion project within the next 15 to 20 years in Tinian. That's the impact.
So are you endorsing this, and do you have any concerns?
Of course, I endorsed it, but with what I have said to them, 4 things. Don't mess around with our environment. Be truthful. Hire our people and give our people opportunity to do business with you folks. That's the 4 I asked of them. And they have to live up with that. The only way we can do that is to continue to dialogue, continue to talk about, and have the opportunity to make say on what is the proposal. People have to come out and come to these opportunities, come to these sessions, and what are your thoughts? They're here. They've been honest. They've been open about it. So let's not just talk about it under the mango tree and on the beach side, and then when the opportunity comes for you to come out here and really ask these folks, that's their profession. That's why they're here. You don't take that opportunity, and then next day you come out on the social media and everything's negative. Even our friends from Tinian Women's Association, they're here. They've been our partners, and they're very welcome. Last week they had the public hearing for the military. They were there. They asked questions. And they were being considered, and then they start to engage and come to a resolution. No.
But Mayor, are you satisfied now with the plans of the military in regards to the exercises that they're going to conduct on Tinian? Besides, 2015 there was a different plan, but now they changed because of the input that they got from the community. Are you now satisfied with?
As far as giving the community the opportunity to engage with them, I'm satisfied with them. Now, as we move along, even with the divert, as we move along, even though there was public hearings and engagements and all of those plans that were rolled out, when it got rolled out, there are issues that are concerned to our ranchers, our community, our opportunity and access heading up north. But we move along and we address as partners on those issues, like the road was, it was potholes all over the place. The farmers that were there we were doing these discussions. There was no close access. So then we continue to mitigate, and we continue to talk to them and engage to the contractors, not really your DOD, but to the contractors, and then we can resolve as we move forward some of the issues. But to support it, absolutely. But we still have issues that we need to address them as we move along, as we see if there is there positive, negative issues, and we need to address them.
Speaking about issues, Mayor, what's the plan for the landfill? I think they need that for the military buildup here, and also unexploded ordnance 80 years after the war. Does the DOD give you a timeline when they're gonna finally clean that up?
So the landfill issue was we have already spoken in our quarterly engagements, the executive meetings that we have. We have the governor and DPO has addressed with and met with DOD. It is within the legal counsels of the CNMI AG's office and the legal staffers for Joint Region Marianas. I believe we are at the very close end of transferring that partial land within the military leased area. They will be declared as excess land and they will be transferred to Department of Public Lands. And then from then the public land will transfer it over to Department of Public Works where we will start engaging where to get the funding for
The new landfill.
new landfill. But at the same token, the military will do the environmental assessment for that particular property before they turn it over to the CNMI.
So you're gonna close Puntan Diablo now.
Not close, not in the immediate future, but within once we identify the funding, they will have to close it down.
And then the unexploded ordinance.
Unexploded ordnance, according from them, if it's within outside the military leased area or within the 1/3, would they have referred us to other agencies that are supposed to remove those, like the Brownsfield grant, and there's another grant that we're supposed to avail those grants. They are directing us to those folks because they have the conversation with these folks that in case the municipality comes over and put in a grant, it should be entertained.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay. Don Farrell here, commenting on the DAIS. Any concerns you've seen during this presentation right now?
I think that the environmental impact study that has been given to us this time for the new Commonwealth Joint Military Training Plan is very well done. All right, I do believe it could have been written in a little bit more simpler language, right, for the average people to be able to understand, right, when we talk about explosives or, are we talking about, firecrackers or 1,000-pound bombs? Just things that set people's mind at ease, right, would have been a little bit better, I think. Most important thing for us to know is, first of all, is there an estimated date when we will have these training exercises actually begin? Are we talking 6 months or 6 years? We've been on this now, the first CJMT for 15 years? Now we're starting all over again. So when will be the training exercise? What would be a typical training exercise agenda? How many people would arrive here? How are they coming in? Are they going to fly into Northfield and bivouac in the jungle? Are they going to come in by boat and march up there, right? And what about the scheduling, right? Are they going to come in on Monday morning and fly home on Friday afternoon, not giving those Marines any chance to come into town and spend a couple of dollars here, right, so that the local people get some benefit out of the training operation, other than the satisfaction of being good Americans. So, but other than that, I think that the program that they put together here is good. I know most of the presenters here, they're all professionals. They've been doing it for some time, right? And they obviously are going out of their way. Now, I give a great deal of credit for all of that to Mr. Hashimoto. All right, for those of you who've known Mark Hashimoto since he was General Hashimoto, he is a Hawaiian. He understands the people out here, but he's also a hardcore Marine. Now he's Director of Marine Forces Pacific, and I think he's doing a great job, and I'm glad that we have him with us.
Mr. Farrell, you're a historian. I just want to get your take amid all the conflict right now in the world. What does this moment mean for Tinian and the region and maybe the world?
You're way beyond me, young man. I wish I had the answer to that, and I think half of America, maybe more than half, is asking that same question, right? President Trump, did he actually initiate a war? That should be an act of Congress. It's not a presidential prerogative, right? But, we really don't know what's going on in Washington, D.C. today. For us out here on Tinian, or at least the only thing we feel out of it, for the most part, right, is just watching the news at night and seeing what happened today, right? So I don't think it has a big impact on us, except another Middle Eastern war could threaten the oil supply. Now, that's significant for us. If for any reason at all our oil supply gets cut short to the Marianas, we're screwed, right? So let's just hope that it's not going to build into anything much bigger than it is already. We've got a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. Now Russia's taking a peek at Finland, right, just as they did so many years ago. It's just the European area, the Middle Eastern area is just so convoluted right now, impossible to understand, with implications worldwide. And add that to then the changing economy with the tariff wars and everything else that's going on, and we're in a very unstable time. So that's, for the people out here, all we can do is watch and hope for the best.
Thank you so much.
Is it good enough?
All right, Hafaday, if you're just watching us, this is Tomas Manglona reporting on Tinian alongside Mark Rabago. This stream will be available to view and play back at the end of tonight once we end this stream. But we are giving you a live look of day 1 of 2 of public meetings happening here on Tinian. We're going to take a bit of a break and line up more interviews for you, speak with the local community about what concerns they have, what questions they have. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave you for now with these live images at the Tinian Junior Senior High School for the revised draft EIS for the CJMT. Stay tuned.